Hello everybody, I'm Billy Bourbon. Welcome to the show Living the Dream. Now most of the people on this show know they're never going to tour the world or sell 1 million recordings, but they love the music and that's what they want to do, and they just keep on doing it no matter what. No matter how long the drive, no matter how crappy the weather, the load in, the load out, it's all so you get to play and so you can make music with the audience. That's what it's really all about when you're living the dream. Over the years, I've been lucky enough to be a member of several different musical communities, and several of them have been very special, including the one I'm in right now. Just before Christmas, one of our musical community members, Julie Jules Gordon, had a fire in her home. In the middle of the night, she had about 5 minutes to 5 seconds or something like that, somewhere between 5 seconds and 5 minutes to get the hell out. And she did, and fortunately no people or animals were hurt or killed, but all of her stuff was ruined, and the people came together to help her out. And my drummer, Terry McDowell of the Mandela Effect, organized this benefit for her at our Sunday Rumors Jam. And the musical community poured in from all over, and this is a performance of Julie and her band from that benefit.
Baby, knocking me sideways. Baby, knocking me out there. Together you come around me. These feelings won't go away. Baby, knocking me sideways. I keep thinking every moment that time to take them away. These feelings won't go away.
That's how I feel about all of you, all the love I have for all of you. And thank you all so much for being here today. I'm so grateful to have such a wonderful musical community to live in and thrive in, not just survive. So I thank you all for your help and your generosity, and for this great band that I'm playing with here today.
Here's a clip from my interview with Jim Casey about Livin' the Dream. Billy Bourbon here, Livin' the Dream. I'm with Jim Casey here in Norfolk, Nebraska. He's a singer-songwriter. He was a producer down in Nashville, and he's living the dream, as we say. Now, part of the living the dream concept that we're trying to explore with the show is the people who keep playing, and I consider you to be one of them. That you had a fair amount of success. He was on Dick Clark. He was on, he had a touring band. He was a big regional dynasty, and they still draw big crowds today when they say, "Hey, we're going to get together and play."
That was a good thing. I think sometimes the Lord has a job for you, and you may not be successful at any other thing in life, but that's what you're drawn to. I know you're drawn to it, and I found when I moved to Nashville that it was full of spirits. The greatest thing about Nashville was it was full of spirits that wanted to be there, connected to music. They couldn't even explain why they were there sometimes.
It just didn't make sense.
Nobody
believed in them.
You got people, like Chris Christopherson, unbelievable scholar, went over to England on scholarship, was an officer in the military, could have done anything, pilot, flew helicopters, but he took a job as a janitor when he moved to Nashville because he was, in his brilliance, he knew that if he devoted too much thought to other things, he would not continue in songwriting. And that's really the way it is. Sometimes we move in and out of songwriting and move in and out of places. But Christopherson was able to devote all his thinking to writing songs. It didn't take much to sweep.
Here's a track from the band I'm in, The Mandela Effect. This song is a Louis Jordan song called Outskirts of Town.
Every single day, stop at the grocery store.
turning around.
Here's more of my interview with Jim Casey, where he tells about being a producer and songwriter in Nashville in the 70s and 80s.
Well, in Nashville, that was a big thing to co-write. Excuse me. And the thing about it from a business standpoint that was great was because I might write for Jack Music, and someone else might be writing for Fox or a publishing company. But if we both had half that song, both those companies were going to be trying to work that song and get it to people. And half of that is better than nothing of the whole.
Nothing, yeah.
And so there's a business thing. From a standpoint of co-writing, we have a little idea and we come and we go, man, this ought to be, and the other person likes it. I like it. So we start writing, and we have our little thing that we came in, our little darling. That's our darling.
Now, I was going to mention that. You told me that like 20 years ago. He said, you know, Bill, because I was brought a song to show it to him, and he says, you know, you could change this here, or you might want to redo the chorus here, or, you know, make that line fit better. And I was balking at it, you know, because I liked the way it was. And
Sure, we all do.
And he goes, yeah, those are the little darlings. You fall in love with that song, you don't want to change anything. He said, but I would say that as a writer, I have now matured to, I edit things. I do make corrections now. I do change things.
It's tough to throw out that thing that you hung everything on that got you that far into the song. And then sometimes, especially if you're co-writing, because you might co-write with another guy, or maybe there are a couple of people, and they're kind of over there going, I don't know about that. I can tell it.
Yeah.
But I'm hanging on because I just think they don't see it. But yeah, you're right. Co-writing's a different thing. It's really about it's not all the time with co-writing about, it's tougher to write from the heart all the time when you're co-writing. You better do it quick.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty much a skill labor putting things together.
Did you ever have the one of those cutthroat things where star comes in and says, hey, maybe we could say the there instead of there, and then they got a co-write out of the deal. They didn't really write the song, but they got a co-write.
I actually have. I've been on both ends of it. I had one song I wrote with a great songwriter, and he and I had worked on this thing, and we wrote it, and then he rewrote some of it, and he only thought I deserved a third when we got back. And I've been getting paid, but I've been getting a full thing on the song anyway. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that happens. That can always.
It's a tough business. That's all there is to it. You know?
There used to be a saying in Nashville: "If you say it, I stole it." That's where you'd go. Be careful where you play for other people, and you have this great thing. The gambler might have been beginning played by somebody else. I mean, he didn't steal that song.
No.
And but I'm saying it. Those things happen. It's a cutthroat business, and I think if your listeners and watchers, your audience is interested in go to Nashville, it's a different place now than when I went in 1970.
Yeah. And
moved there from Norfolk in the end of June 1970, and there was no over the top, this frivolous respect for country music, and people were on The Voice, and they were there, and it was, you'd see Waylon and Tom Paul Glaser playing the pinball machines at the Burger Boy. Anytime you went in there, hey, what is going on now? And people were all over the place. It was accessible. You could go to places and at least have a shot at playing them a song. But now I think it's really corporate hard. But that doesn't shut the door on creativity.
Al Hendricks brought his 66 Fender bass to the jam, and the boys went a little crazy.
Wow. All over the U.S.
Look at this fucker, man. Look at this.
Oh, my God, dude. got the other part of chrome that goes across the strings. That's inside here.
Oh my.
With the original screws.
Oh, dude. Oh, I love it, man. I love it. I love it, dude. That's so fucking beautiful. That's so beautiful. It's a dark sunburst, man.
Yeah, tobacco sunburst. Tobacco with tobacco on top of it.
Yeah. 56, dude. That's an old one.
Tell me about it. Here. Hey, come here. Tell me about it.
That's an old guitar, man. That's like the, oh man, first year CBS bought the shit, and man, that's crazy. I love that guitar. I can't wait to play it.
That's the bass that was all done with.
All those years. What year is it again? What number? What year?
It's 66. However long I've had it, that's how long it's been played. And every single weekend, with even when I was at the city, 28 years. Every weekend. It was used as the, in fact, if you look at the back of it, you'll see that it used to have a telephone cord. See the telephone cord back there? That's because coming back from California, the cord was under it in the case, and the case was full of water up to here.
Oh no.
And I left it lay outside in the garage and dry out. And there it is.
Takes a licking and keeps on ticking. Well, you're a success, Jim. You got your kids and they love you.
They do. That's my big success in life, and the other things were just
Things.
they were wonderful things. The songwriting I got to do was always great. I was into it, and I'm a good songwriter, so I wanted something to happen with my songs. There's excitement from that, and there's money in that, but even the songwriters that I know that are really successful, like Chris Christopherson, that are still alive. Chris Christopherson, even when Shel Silverstein was my co-writer and friend. Mm-hmm. And there's probably other ones, at least those guys, even Jack Clement, great songwriter. All that success that they'd have with the song was great when it was about that. But the rest of the time, it was about their lives, just like the rest of us. Everybody, it's about our life. That thing can't be the only shot, because there'll come a weak time in there where you go, boy, did I have this wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be more. There's a reason why we're doing these things. And I believe that music's in its own end in a way sometimes, if it's for a good purpose.
Yeah, I met some guys. My current bass player is also the bass player for Rare Earth. Now they don't play very often anymore, but he does. Mm-hmm. When he gets the call, he hops on a plane and goes and plays with them.
Great.
And he took me to one of their concerts in Wisconsin, and I got to meet the guys in Orleans. Remember, still
Sure,
the one makes me smile. And he was a very nice guy. He was a very nice, and they sounded absolutely fabulous. Still had all the vocals and everything, you know. And I was talking to him back in the trailer. I was standing there listening to him talk, and it actually was one of the things that kind of sparked this idea of living the dream. Because, you know, that Orleans, the guy, I don't even know the guy's name. I feel bad. I'm talking off the top of my head here, though. Orleans was a band in the 70s. They haven't had a hit for 30 or 35 years. But they still have a market where they can play and draw big crowds and get paid well. But not as many gigs as they used to have. And here's this guy telling me, who's just got done playing to 3,500, 5,000 people at a festival, back in the back room, telling me about, Tuesday I got to be over at this club in Boston because I'm playing. Me and Joe are doing an acoustic thing, and I'm going, wait a minute. So basically, you're doing the same thing that I'm doing.
That's true.
It's just when you were young, you got lucky and had a big hit.
And you're making more money.
And
now.
you're making more money than I am. But
it's true.
So, and it really clarified it for me, because it's really, I play because I want to play, not because I'm making a huge amount of money for it. He's making money, but he doesn't get to play enough, so he continues to go out and play small gigs.
Absolutely, as much as you can.
And I think if you're going to have a craft, that was one of the things I loved about being in Houston. any night of the week after I've been around and networked and I knew people playing somewhere every night of the week where I could probably get them to play. That is a crucible. It's a very good way to learn, very good way to be told, get some hints from people, Yeah, my friend Guy taught me to, Bill, you can play fast and you can do things, but there's a thing called space too.
God, we could have different chapters. Today we're going to talk about space.
Space.
I can tell you great space stories about, of course, one of my, a friend of ours, Matt and I both, was Sam Phillips, and who started Sun Records. His sons were friends of mine, and
I met the son.
You met Jerry, I'm sure, and
he gave me the earring.
Oh, that's right.
The rattlesnake earring he gave me.
He sure did, didn't he?
Yeah.
Great guys. If you wanted to know some good guys, they're Sam Phillips' sons, and but Sam was such a unique genius in his own way, because he understood the geniuses hemmed in by they don't know everything about everything. They've got something they know really well, and that seems to be the thing that keeps going. Their limitations, they have to keep pushing their limitations a little bit because they're limited. Geniuses are not always the person that can do all the numbers and math and all that stuff. But Sam's thing about recording, he came up, basically with one mic or moved into 3 or 4. But some of the biggest records of all times, all Elvis's early stuff was Sam, and Great Balls of Fire and a whole lot of Shakin' by Jerry Lee, and Johnny Cash's stuff, and just one after another. And he had a real ear for sound, and he hated that sound, that modern sound, where they got as many things as they could put into one song. There's still a little air room here. Put a mandolin in there. Let's get it all. And then they compress the hell out of it till it's just coming out of that speaker like a baseball bat. Mm-hmm. Sam hated it. And it was more than once somebody'd be playing him stuff. And live. And when we had a party at our office, we'd tell, we didn't want to play for Sam. I didn't want to play again. A lot of people, oh God, if I could only play for Sam Phillips. And even Jack Clement, who worked for Sam. I remember one party he was there, and somebody said, let's go get the guitars, and Jack got up, I'm going home. He got up and left because he knew Sam was going to be brutal. And so all these sort of wannabes they get up and play, and they're giving them, so many licks, and zing, 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 zing. And Sam, he'd sit there a lot, and I think he thought at this age, I'm 80 now, I don't have time. If they want me to tell them what I'm thinking, he go, Jesus Christ, cut that guitar out of there, that wing, wang, wang, and he go, phony, phony, phony. And Jerry and I'd be in another part of the building, and because we knew it was going to get funny, just listening to what was happening.
Right. And
people would cry. Yeah. They'd start crying, or they didn't, and you'd have to, and the other brother Knox said, it's okay, he's like that all the time. Sam wasn't mean. Actually, sitting there, I knew what he was telling him was true.
Well, sure. And sometimes,
it was true, but nobody'd say it.
But sometimes artists need to hear it.
Nobody would say it. And that's the main reason these people weren't artists or better artists, because they kept arguing with that shit. Sam trying to tell him, quit playing that fucking guitar. Son, that guitar, don't let that guitar get in your way. A huge compliment. But if you think, oh God, I'm a failure, he doesn't like me, I'm never gonna hire you to play guitar for me. Why would you play it up there when you're trying to sing?
One of the things I've tried to adopt in my mental outlook is, when somebody like that, somebody who I admire, somebody who I know knows shit, that I try to take it, they're giving me advice. They could just keep their mouth shut. They didn't have to tell me. You know what I mean? They're trying to help me. Mm-hmm. They are telling me what they think I need to hear. And I personally feel like I'm strong enough to take their criticism.
I'm not. I don't want anybody unless I fucking ask you. It's none of your business. You paid to get in here. If you don't like my song, shut up. I don't want to hear that. And I don't really ever get that anyway, so I don't know. I mean, but if I ask somebody like you, if I would ask you for some, Bill, what do you think about this or that? And you told me, and it might hurt me a little, but that's how you progress. I go, you're probably right. And
But not, unsolicited advice is a different thing for you.
You bet it is. I got no, and it would have to be somebody I really adored their judgment on. Musicians are easily brought down. Like here's an example. When musicians and everybody feel free, it's wonderful. Free with direction. That's what producers for. That's enough. That's the end. That's enough. That's what a producer tells you. That's enough.
Yeah.
When you're good, that's enough. I don't want any more. That's it. And that's his main job. It's not to get in there and tell you how to do it. It's if you got good people and it's got something rocking. And sometimes you do have to go, that just isn't working. But musicians out in the studio behind will look through the glass. This is a big deal. I've told people at my sessions. And they're in there doing whatever, and they can't hear what you're doing, and people are laughing, and talking and bullshitting. It's a distraction. Those things, and
Well, artists can be sensitive. There's no doubt about that.
well, they can. They don't want somebody messing with their psyche. And it's not like, oh gosh, we got to be gentle, because musicians are hard on each other in the studio. They got the best jokes in Nashville are the ones here in the studio, and they're the most truthful. If somebody's gay, they know it. If somebody's been running around on their wife, they know it. If whatever the thing is, the musicians know it.
You told me about having to play for or not play for Mr. Phillips, and I was thinking about I asked you earlier about one of your biggest mistakes or one of the mistakes you made in your career. Now, I don't know if it was the biggest mistake I ever made, but I had a band I admired. They were called the Beat Farmers. They were from San Diego, California, and they were they were the best bar band I ever saw.
I've heard them.
And they were great writers.
I haven't heard them live, but I know who they are. I've heard their music.
And they were good writers. Think of a mesh between the Eagles and Leonard Skinner. That's how I kind of saw them. Anyway, the point we went to the party, we went to the show, we went to the backstage to the party, and then we got invited back to the hotel. We go back to the hotel, and I bring my guitar up. Well, he says, "Hey, I see you got your guitar there. You know how to play it?" "Oh yeah, sure." I was happy. Popped that guitar out, and there's the mistake I made. I played him one of his songs.
Oh shit.
And I'll never forget. And I thought I had done a pretty good job. Actually, I didn't forget any of the words or anything. And I'll never forget the thing he said when we got done. I got done and strummed the last chord, and he goes, "Well, you could play it like that."
That's funny. You could. That's a compliment, actually. I'm telling you, I know. One of the most misunderstood things in Nashville is when people go to back in the day when I was around, you'd go to play songs for somebody or talk to them, whatever, be around. And if they liked you or liked your music, about the best they might say was, well, if you want to come, you're hoping to go, wow, we love your stuff. We want to sign you. We love, but it wasn't, if you want to come back and hang around, you can. You can hang around. That was the top.
That's top compliment.
But after a while, you went, holy shit, they told me I could hang around. That meant they didn't dislike you. Because if you could be the greatest talent, and if they disliked you, you're out of, they don't want you hanging around.
Right.
So being that they could stand you was a big in.
Yeah. Well, you know very well as I do that in the music business, or I suppose any business, but music business is very much, the entertainment business is very much so. It's networking and knowing somebody or you're available and I need somebody else, so call your buddy. That kind of thing happens, and if you're personable and you're not an asshole, you don't smell bad, and you can play, you'll get those things. That's how you get to be that guy.
And I can tell you this, I've seen it more. I was watching Andy Griffith last night, and I saw there was an episode where this guy. Do you ever watch Andy Griffith?
Sure.
The guy Jim that played the guitar, the hot guitar player, and then he got a job with one of these guys on the road, and then there was another episode where he left. He went out on his own, and so he quit the band or whatever, or got fired, and then he went to hell, and Andy brought the old boss back in. I'd still fire him, but he said, tell him not to crowd me. You know what that means? Nobody is here to hear your shit, how great you are. My name's on the fucking thing. You support what I do, and I'm going to give you your chance to shine. And when you do, they're going to think you're the greatest thing in the world. That's why you think you're the greatest now, because I'm going to make you shine because I know how to do that. That's exactly what that guy was saying. I'll hire you. You're great, but you ain't good enough to go through this whole thing and have a band. I know you ain't. You're not going to. That's a different deal. I could have been keeping a band going involves no musical talent as such.
It's organizational skills.
Yeah, and have to call people and be willing to go, fuck, do I have to chase that guy again?
Have backup and have when I lived in Houston, I had a main drummer and a great drummer, Greg Babinow was his name, and he passed on. And after that point on, we were on a drummer search.
There you go. I've been on one for years.
And there's a lot of great drummers, but they weren't him. That guy and I would constantly say, it's not that you're a bad drummer, it's just you're not Greg.
Yeah, I know. It's like being with a woman.
So it got down to the point where I had about 15 drummers. They were all real good, and all of them were the best drummers in Houston. They played with all the time. It was hard. That's why I had 15 of them, because most of them were working on any given night.
Sure.
So you had to find the one who just didn't have a gig. You know.
God.
Here's the Mandela Effect's bass player, Randy Byrd Bergdahl, with a little road story.
I'm mentioning names here.
All right, you're on.
Okay, I played Little Rock one time, and went in to do the setup, and my boss, I won't mention names, he told me if that person, which is Connie, from famous Connie the Groupie, came
The
to
Plastercaster girl?
Yes, Connie, the Connie girl. The Connie girl. Okay, apparently when she was 16, that was one of her first ones, okay? And over the years, he was chasing him. And then she was writing a book, and she had to have him do a signing release for this book. And my boss said, don't let her anywhere near me. So I pushed it away, got out of her. But she told me that she did Bill Clinton at the hotel, and they gave her enough money to buy a house. So the book didn't come out. And she was this close to me when she told me that story. And then a year later, my new drummer came in, and she went, hey! Ah! Yes. And then after that, we had to keep her humor her, otherwise she'd go crazy. So at the end of the night, she got a hold of one of the guys in the band, which I won't mention names, and they went to the bar, and he talked to her, and he went up and got up and walked away. She went, you're not gonna fuck me, in the middle of the whole bar. He ran to the elevator, pushed the button, went to his room and hid. She went to everybody's room and started knocking on the door. The police came and threw her out. This is the honest to God story.
I love it.
It's a true story. A true on my birthday.
Billy Bourbon here, living the dream. I'm with Jim Casey. We're just wrapping up the interview. After I get done here with you, I'm going over to the Elkhorn Valley Museum to check out the display. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, Bill, this is exciting. You know, I guess it would be back in 1994. I wanted a reason to get people together, and I noticed, because I was hired for a class reunion, that there would be a band. in a class and a band in the next class. And I thought, I get to see these guys. We haven't played together for a long time. We're going to put something together. So we put together a little organization called the Nebraska Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which we changed later to the Nebraska Music Hall of Fame because the National Rock and Roll Hall of Fame threatened a lawsuit. And I was all for leaving it and getting sued. I thought, what great publicity.
Yeah, but nothing could be better.
But as always, I was outvoted. But so we put this together, and it was a wonderful thing. It gave me a chance in '94, the first year, to bring people back together, Don Soul on the road. You were there.
I remember. We were.
You were helping
We were
with us.
cobbing together sound equipment for this PA and that PA, and Randy brought in the big speaker, and anyway, it was
whatever we had. We brought in people, threw everything together, and it turned out to be a great show. It was a great show. I suppose there were about 800,000 people packed into that, and we inducted that first year Don Soul and the Roadrunners, who were recording in the 50s, Ron Thompson and the Brohams, Dick Allison, the Smoke Ring, I think, or maybe that was a couple years later. But there were a lot of great musicians, and that's kind of kept the musicians in this part of the country together.
Yeah, and kept them coming back from California or New York or wherever they've migrated to life takes them, but they come back for this every year now, and it's been going. How many years is it now?
This will be the 27th year.
Wow.
And it's something I never really. I just wanted something fun to do that year, and then it was fun to do the next year. But now. We've opened an exhibit, and we have our own room, exhibition hall, at the Elkhorn Valley Museum here in Norfolk, Nebraska, and we put together a real quick show that opened last Friday, and it was fun. Our main thing, nobody wants to come into a museum or anything and go, let me read all this, and it's very cerebral. You want to come in and go, that's fun. Look at that poster. Look at that guitar or whatever it is. Because that's how we feel about music. And so I would say it's a big success, and we've inducted people from all over the country, and it's been a wonderful thing for their families. Iowa has their own Music Hall of Fame. As a matter of fact, our band, The Smoke Ring, I'm inducted as a member into the Iowa Music Association Hall of Fame, and the South Dakota, and the National Rockabilly Hall of Fame, whatever it's called. And that's all the Hall of Fames I'm in my children's heart.
Oh, it's been great. We'll have to do this again, and we'll talk some more subjects.
Bill Bourbon, I'd love it. Right. Maybe we'll get a subject, and you and I'll stick to it for a certain period of time.
Well, we do like to talk.
We love to talk, and I love to listen. You've got some good ideas all the time, and you're one of life's great characters, and I mean that in a good way. God, people that are just let's get with it, and you are. You're a great musician, hell of a songwriter. I still take credit for one of your songs. People come up and, aren't you the guy that wrote that song, Pierce County Plates?
Yes.
Well, I do sometimes. Then they go play it, and I say, I don't know it. But I actually asked you, I got a copy of it so I could learn it.
Yeah.
And I haven't learned it yet, Bill.
It's on YouTube, though.
Okay.
You can tell them it's on YouTube.
I can do that. It's on YouTube, folks. All right. Thank you, Bill Bourbon.
Thank you.
Driving along, just minding my business when the car pulls out in front of me. Cuts across 3 lanes of traffic and pulls off down the side street. It happened so fast I didn't see the driver, but there's one thing I can relate. As the car was pulling away, I saw those Pierce County plates. Pierce County plates. Pierce County plates, oh yeah. Oh lordy, the first number's 40, they got the Pierce County plates. I ain't saying Pierce folks ain't drive. And if you go out riding with them, well, I hope you come back alive. One thing to keep your eye peeled for when you're driving in this state. Watch out for the big 4-road, Pierce County plates. Pierce County plates. Pierce County plates, oh yeah. Oh lordy, the first number's 40 they got, Pierce County plates. My license to drive. Trooper handed me a test form. He said, son, just take your time. I filled it out, I handed it back in. You said you made just one mistake. Whoever says this the major road has that you forgot Pierce County plates. Pierce County plates. Pierce County plates, oh yeah. Oh lordy, first number's 40 they got Pierce County plates. Pierce County plates. Pierce County plates, oh yeah. Oh lordy, the first number's 40 they got Pierce County plates. 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 Pierce County plates.
Well, that wraps up our show, Livin' the Dream. I'm Billy Bourbon, your host. I want to thank my interview guest, Jim Casey, and the Mandela Effect for performing and being part of the show. Also, Julie Jules Gordon and her band for performing. And the old guys from Rowdy the Band, Jason Ferguson, Rockin' Ray Warden, W. Barton Reed, and myself from Rowdy the Band with Pierce County plates. Right up here in the corner, let's see if I can get her, right up there in the corner, if you click my face right up there, that'll subscribe you to this YouTube channel. Thank you. Every little bit helps. See you next time.